Hi everyone, I'm Garrett Weinzierl for the Arrowhead Center at NMSU, and I'm back with tips on how to look a little more professional when working remotely. And no, today's tip isn't stop being a potato. I for one wish more of my coworkers would embrace our starchy overlords. Today we're covering all of the items that you should check before heading into your next remote meeting, live stream, or video recording. Who doesn't love a good checklist? I mean, okay, maybe they're not the most exciting things in the world, but I like to check my car before a road trip because I don't want a wheel falling off or my oil levels to be out of whack. And I don't want to be the reason the first 10 minutes of my next Zoom session were spent trying to get my microphone to work. Mic, camera, dress, background, and software. These are the 5 things everyone should check before their next remote get-together. The one thing that is required for all remote meetings is a microphone. Not everyone is getting together over video, but it's going to be pretty hard to catch up if we can't get levels out of our mic. This is going to depend on what kind of microphone we're using. These days, basically every phone, laptop, and webcam have a built-in microphone, basically the opposite of what's in front of me. While these aren't the best sounding mics in the world, they get the job done. The best thing about joining a call from a smartphone or a laptop with a built-in mic is not having to fuss with drivers or software. These built-in components tend to just work. If our computer doesn't already have a microphone or we want to up our sound quality, we're going external. This means we're either plugging in a USB, an 1/8-inch jack, or pairing a wireless headset to Bluetooth. Whichever one of these we're going with, we want to check our sound settings to make sure the correct device is selected. At the most base level, we want to make sure our computer knows there is a microphone plugged in. This means going to the sound settings and checking the input device. For Windows 10, this can be found in Settings. For Mac, go to the System Preferences. If the mic isn't listed in the input device options, it's either not plugged in correctly or there's a driver or software that needs to be installed first. Once the microphone is showing up in the input devices, go ahead and test the levels to make sure it's working. Remember, if the microphone isn't showing up or working in the computer settings, it definitely isn't going to be working in Skype, Zoom, or any other application. On a technical level, getting a camera to work on our computers is basically identical to a microphone. The majority of models will need to be plugged in via USB and have its respective software installed. The biggest difference is that webcam functionality usually can't be tested in a computer's settings. Most webcams nowadays are plug and play, however. This makes things really easy. Now, whether we're using Skype, Zoom, or another piece of meeting software, we should be able to plug the camera's USB in and go into our software settings to see if our camera is working. The thing is, meeting software tends to not give us much, if any, control over fine-tuning our camera. This is why we want to install the software for our camera model. This allows setting the camera resolution, frame rate, and depending on the model, may even let us call in from a more extravagant location. Once the camera is up and running, angle the camera appropriately, and we're off. If we're catching up with our friends or family over Skype, go ahead, break out the robes and the onesies. It's time to get comfortable. But if it's time for a meeting, we may want to look a little more professional. Now, don't worry, this is not going to be a lecture on why pajama pants aren't appropriate even while working from home. This is why the camera angle was so important. Enjoy the freedom. Think of it like a mullet for remote meetings. Business on top, party on the bottom. Now, a lot of my fellow remote working coworkers swear by dressing as if they're in an office. Others I know just feel better and more productive when they're dressed nicely. It makes a lot of sense to me, honestly, even though I do tend to wear PJ pants quite a bit. But having office wear on during work hours and then changing out of them when work is over actually helps delineate the day when working from home. And as someone who has worked remotely for half a decade, this helps stop me from asking, "What year is it?" Now that the camera is on and we're dressed for comfortable success, it's time to get control of our background. Let's just minimize chances for surprises happening back there. This also extends to what's around us and, what's in front of us, if it's in frame.
What a complete slump.
This ties back into the importance of the camera angle. There's no need to worry about what's laying around the computer desk if the camera can't see our computer desk. I've been doing this a long time, and I still get paranoid about leaving out an important document, or even worse, dirty laundry laying around in the background. Can't have people thinking I leave my socks all over the place. For more background tips, please go and check out our very first remotely video. Spend a good time talking about it in there. The final checkbox is the app we're going to be meeting in. Even though the microphone and camera were working in the computer's settings, doesn't mean the meeting app has the correct microphone and camera selected. And let me tell you, these apps love to forget which mic and camera were selected, especially if there's been an update to these applications recently.
Why are you the way that you are?
Every meeting app is different, but they all have settings. We want to find the audio and video settings. Check the drop-down menus for both the mic and camera to make sure the correct devices are selected. Also, make sure the volume for the microphone is turned up. There are volume settings in every single meeting software. Just because the volume is working in one does not mean that the volume level isn't turned too low in another. It's always worth double checking. Personal note, the automatic adjustment option, this is like the auto adjust microphone feature. Most meeting apps have this, and they're almost all universally problematic, especially with built-in microphones that tend to pick up a lot of room noise. They tend to let in any wind or background noise at the maximum volume whenever I'm not talking. That's it. We've checked all 5 boxes. You're ready to cruise through your next meeting as the master of all remote tech. Like and subscribe for more videos like these and to keep up to date with how the Arrowhead Center is helping clients build their businesses. See you next time. This video was brought to you by the New Mexico Economic Development Department, Office of Science and Technology.